Welcome to this presentation on sex trafficking awareness and prevention, sponsored by Coweta-Fayette EMC and the Coweta Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office. This presentation is by Heidi Cloud. She's got a background in criminal justice and working with sex trafficking survivors. I'm District Attorney Herb Cranford, and I hope you learn a lot from this presentation.
First off, thank you guys for being here. We're talking about something that is very, very dear to my heart. I've spent the last 12 years as an advocate working with survivors. So for the last 12 years, I've spent most of my time with drug addicts, prostitutes, strippers, and sex trafficking survivors. So kind of hanging out with the normal people is a little bit odd to me. But I'm really happy to be here because we're talking about a very important subject. There is a lot of myths out there about what trafficking is. And I'm not to say that there's not a small percentage of what you've seen on the media or the big headlines or Taken or something like that, but that is not what's going on. And that is what I'm here to kind of discuss with you. So first thing that I want to do with you is I want to just kind of have like a summary, a definition summary. Commercial sexual exploitation of children. So an estimated 100,000 to 300,000 children are at risk of commercial sexual exploitation in the U.S. each year. According to the United States Office of Trafficking, sex trafficking is the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, obtaining, patronizing, soliciting of a person for the purpose of commercial sex act in which the commercial sex act is induced by force, fraud, coercion, or in which a person induced to perform such acts not the age of 18. Pimps / traffickers. We're going to interchange these words because I need the general public to interchange these words. There is very, very few pimps left in the world. Back in the day, there was such a thing. There was a pimp and there was a hoe. There was a mutual relationship that she was going to exchange sex for money, and he was going to provide protection. That female then left with her money. She paid for that protection, and she had her things. She had her IDs. She had her Social Security. She still had a part of her money. There are very few pimps left. Most all traffickers and pimps are now the same people. They got out of the drug game because guess what? There's high punishment with selling drugs. There's not a really high punishment for selling your kid. Good luck proving it. Because you first have to have a victim, and most victims don't ever want to testify against a trafficker. So the risk is really, really low to a sex trafficker to sell your children. To sell an 18-year-old. I don't know about you, you might be 18, but you're still not an adult. I wasn't really an adult at 20 or 21. You're not fully developed. You're out there living your best life. But there's no consequences, so drug dealers got out of selling drugs. I mean, you still have it, but the risks are so high. You're going to go to prison. But guess what? I can sell your children, and I can sell them over and over and over and over again, and I don't have to get a new product to sell. I don't have to cross the border. I don't have to smuggle something in. I have that one product that is your child that I can repeatedly sell over and over again. The average pimp in Atlanta makes $30,000 a week, and that is selling roughly about 5 girls. It's pretty average. A trafficker can have anywhere from 1 to 5 girls is typical. Then you have the really, really big traffickers that have much more than that. But if we're talking average traffickers, that's what we're talking. Traffickers recruit girls by initially fulfilling their wish for a boyfriend. Most first-person accounts describe a teenager who meekly confessed that first she was convinced that her pimp was actually her boyfriend. So let's take a minute. This note is here for a reason. I love you for all that you are, all that you have been, and all that you are yet to be. Have you ever met somebody that fulfilled your every emotional need? For the general public, we haven't, right? I don't know about you, but on the dating scene, You go on a date, you kind of come back and you talk to your girlfriend, you're like, well, you know, he was really cute, he was really nice, he opened the door for me, and we did this, and we go through our list of everything that went right, and then we go through our list of everything that wasn't so great, right? And then when we decide to make a boyfriend, we kind of go through that same list of these are the good traits and these are the, you know, he can mature. These traffickers, they're amazing. I mean, we could send our husbands to, you know, get counseling from a trafficker. They'd come back a whole different person because they are trained to meet these girls' every emotional need. Just imagine going on a date. Imagine going home, talking to your partner, and everything that you say is amazing. They are clinging on every word. Everything, every dream, every hope that you want to do in your life. I have decided tomorrow I'm going to be a mermaid. Wow, that's amazing. Girl, you got this. We got this together. You are going to be the best mermaid ever. We're going to make your dreams come true. I want to open up about a vulnerable situation, something bad that happened in my life, and I'm talking about it. You're like, wow, that's horrible. You went through that? You survived that? Wow. You're boss. You're awesome. We're going to build this life together. We're family. They invest every outlandish idea, every risky idea, whatever adventurous idea, whatever love, whatever support, they literally morph into everything that individual needs at that time. Just imagine the emotional control that that would have over you. That this person literally fulfills your every emotional thing. I would fair to say that 90% or more of your traffickers have become Romeo pimps because they realize they have way more control over a girl when they have her here. And they meet that every emotional thing. What I need for the general public to shake out of their head like an Etch-a-Sketch, just like take it and shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it until it's gone, is the idea that our children are being snatched off the street and they're kidnapped and they're beaten and they're drugged and they're handcuffed, and you just see these horrible pictures and they're just like over here in the corner, they're like, oh, I'm a trafficking victim, save me. That is not what's going on. They walk out the door with the trafficker. They meet up with the trafficker. They go willingly because the trafficker has spent this time on social media, Mr. Romeo, Mr. Loverboy, grooming and building and meeting all their emotional needs, that they go willingly with the traffickers. Do they know they're about to be trafficked? Absolutely not. They then enter a domestic abuse relationship with the traffickers that they identify as their partner. And everything that they're doing for their partner, they're doing for the better of their life. So let's talk about Mr. Romeo. They prey on teens' desire for romance, adventure, and sexual information. They develop trust and create secrecy. They manipulate them by listening to and sympathizing with their problems and insecurities. They affirm their feelings and choices. They exploit their natural sexual curiosity. They ease their inhibitions by gradually introducing sex into conversation and exposing them to pornography. They flatter and compliment them excessively. Send them gifts, invest time, money, and energy into grooming them. They develop an online relationship that is romantic, controlling, and one that they've become very dependent on. They drive a wedge between their parents and their friends. They make promises of exciting, stress-free life tailored to their desires. I don't know about you, but I'm hooked, right? You meet all my emotional needs. I get to live carefree. We're going to do whatever I want to do. Sign me up. So do you think that your kids aren't going to fall for it? I know grown women that fall for it. To keep control, they make threats and then will often use pornography featuring their victims to blackmail them in silence. And this is a real thing. Let's talk pornography, right? What is something that we have to have a conversation with our kids? Don't send nude pictures. I mean, that wasn't a conversation we had to have in my generation, but it's a conversation we have to have with our kids now, right? I have a 17-year-old. I have to say, if you are sent a nude picture, do not share it. Delete it immediately, or you are sharing child pornography. So this goes on in middle school. This goes on in high school. People are constantly exchanging nude pictures whatsoever. So it is nothing for a trafficker to also exploit and get those nude pictures of your children. And then if they do wake up, if they do realize something's going on, then they blackmail them with it. I'm going to show your mom. I'm going to show the whole world. I'm going to post it on Instagram. I'm going to let them know what a dirty little whore you are. I want to take a minute and I want to talk about the American dream. Because I've told you what grooming is. I've told you what a Romeo is. I've told you what they do and the techniques that they use and how they invest all this time. But at the end of the day, we're human beings, right? So when we get new information, we kind of go in the back of our brains and we say, how can we relate this to something that we've gone through? Well, seeing how, by show of hands, none of us have met anybody that met all of our emotional needs, we really don't have that comparison, right? So in the back of our brains, we still say, yeah, but why did they trust him? Where did that trust come in? The trust came in the American dream. The American dream equals trust. So let's define the American dream. The American dream is building yourself up from absolutely nothing, to grind for every last penny in order to make your dreams a reality. The American dream promises freedom and equality. The American dream offers freedom to aspire to bigger and better things and the possibility of achieving them and the freedom to accumulate wealth. Money is the bondage, people. You see these images, like I said before, of people with their hands all bound up, and let me tell you, that is highly offensive to survivors of trafficking, if you did not know that. Money is the bondage. You see those dollar bills right there? They're the ones tied up with the ropes. That's the bondage that we're talking about here. A real boss has no boss, right? We're living the American dream. So how does money equal trust? How is the American dream equaling trust? It equals trust because at the end of the day, you're successful, right? You have a car, you have a house, you have a watch. We've come from nothing. We're doing all these things that mean you're successful. So if you're successful and you make money, that means you're a good person. It's kind of what we're taught, right? Like that's what we're doing there. And bad people, surely they don't get to money and wealth and cars and success and all of that stuff. You know, only the good people really get up there and they make it something of themselves. We send our kids to school and we're like, achieve hard, work hard, go to college, get a job, get a car, get this, get that. And we equate all those as good characters that if you do all those things, if you get a car and you get a house and you get a nice job and you do that, you're successful, you're a good person. If you don't go to college, you're not a good person. If you don't do this, well, I mean, you're not living up to your potential. So these are deeply embedded into our thought process. We teach our daughters financial stability over character. We teach our daughters financial stability over character. If our daughter, which we have a daughter, she comes home and she brings home this guy, and let's just all kind of imagine together he's in the, Scooby-Doo van, right? Like he's in that Scooby-Doo van and he rolls up and he's a complete hippie and he's just like, we feed the hungry. We live off of Mother Earth. We're just out there giving back to people and we're minimalist and we do this and we're just all about giving. Dad's sitting there looking like, my daughter's not living in that van. Now, if a man comes up and he's in a nice car and he's got a good job, Dad's like, what kind of job does he have? Well, what does he do for a living? How's he going to take care of you? Those are the things that we're constantly going back to. Financial. We are taught to fear Poverty. There's no equality in poverty. We don't treat it the same as a nation, as a world. They are beneath that we're helping rise up. So if they're beneath us, we look down. We don't look eye to eye, and we definitely don't look up, right? That does not mean that we don't care, but that is basic psychology right here. That when we look at poor and we look to help, we're looking down. I'm helping you get to me. And we're going up here, which equals success. And we're taught to fear. If you buy something online, right? You're like, hey, meet at a public library, meet at the police department, meet at these things. But what's the other thing that you're doing? You're clicking. Let me see where this person lives. What's going on? What do they look like, right? And we're summing up because we can't judge a person's character on social media, right? So what are we judging that makes us feel safe? Wealth? Stability? Oh, they have a nice car. Oh, did you see that? Oh, they live just right down there. Oh, that's a nice area. Then you're shopping online and you see somebody that maybe lives in a more impoverished area. You're like, ooh, I might get robbed. So we're just going to pass. We're going to move on. We're not going to buy that item. And we're going to go look for the stability, right? That middle class, the wealth or whatever. They're safe. We can go buy from them, but we're not going to go over here and buy from them because something bad could happen to us. All right, so we're at Kohl's, right? We're at my favorite place. We're at Kohl's, and there's 2 parking spots open. They are the same distance from the door, people. One has a Lexus, one has a white van, or one has a broken down hoopty, whichever one you want to stick there. Once again, this is made for us to interact. Where are you going to park your car? It's okay, you can say it out loud. I'm parking next to the Lexus. By the Lexus. Okay. Why are we parking our car by the Lexus? Not because we're judgmental people. Honestly, we have been conditioned that it's safer, right? They're not going to ding my car. They drive a Lexus. I'm in a Corolla. Okay, so I'm safe here. They're not going to break into my car. There's not a bad guy, especially for females, right? Like, we legitimately have to be concerned of what is around us in these areas. So some bad guy's not going to jump out and come after us in this situation, something that makes us feel unsafe. So our natural instinct, and what I need you guys to grasp, is we feel safe with wealth. We don't have an internal alarm clock saying, danger, 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 warning, warning, warning. That is meant to protect us. That gut feeling, those things that we have been taught that could be dangerous situations, is made to protect us. What we have done in society is we have completely cut off that warning sign. So you meet a trafficker and he's met all of your emotional needs. Now he pulls up in a Bentley. He's got tons of money, he's dressed nice, he smells nice, his hair's nice. That's not who you thought I was going to describe, is it? You were looking for some kind of gangster. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about what's really happening in the streets. And they drive a nicer car than you. And they have more money than you. They have a nicer watch than you. They have a nicer house than you. They have all of this put together, and they have been baiting and grooming your children's every emotional need, and now they have all this wealth that solidifies to do what? Trust them. So what I like to do for people is I like to be able to tie in and incorporate hearing from the survivors. It seems to be something that no matter how much you talk and you educate people, they want to know survivor stories. I don't tell survivor stories. It's not my place to tell. That's their story to share. And I have some victims that would like to share theirs. This young lady was a survivor. She wrote a book called Memoirs of Teen Sex Trafficked. Anytime people talk to me about trafficking, my first go-to is to come back to this. because it jumped off so big. It's the things that I'm talking about, the grooming and the love and the connection and all this stuff. So she's a minor. She was 12 when she was sexually molested. She dated a boy at 14. They kind of broke up. They re-met each other about 15, 16, and he was now a trafficker. And they got together, and then she started to be exploited by him at 17. She was even taken to a different country, because that's the thing, people, like, you know, we're all afraid of like smuggling or whatever. People are smuggling them into the United States to sell them, not the other way around. No, they decided to go on a little adventure, and they went out of country to do a little exploiting over there too. So she was beaten, she was sold, she was exploited, she was abused, she was hurt. She was taken to a different country, and he wanted more money. He wanted more things, and off and on again, he brought different people in and out with them. It wasn't being beaten that made her wake up to leave. It wasn't being forced to sell herself every day, to work 365 days, to give over all of her money, to have nothing that is her own unless he provides it. This is her words, not mine. This is the day that she woke up to leave. I knew I could always depend on Ace for his comfort and his cuddles. After a very trying evening of dealing with sexually starved men, if I couldn't depend on Ace to be my lover and my boyfriend, then I didn't see the use of paying him. If I could not depend on him to be my lover and my boyfriend, I didn't see the use of paying him. I don't know if that's really got into your soul like it got into my soul. It wasn't all that she endured, but that love, that emotional stability, that every day depending on him, it didn't matter if she got beat one day, he still came back and said, baby, I love you for the team. If you just wouldn't have done that. If you just wouldn't have done that. But I love you. But the moment that he stopped, the moment he stopped being a good Romeo, he stopped feeding into that emotional and he started overly giving it to everybody else, that's what made her leave. She confronted him, and his response to her, he said one of the roles he played was being my man. It was just a game. They argued and they yelled some more. And they said, B, nobody needs you. You are no more valuable than the gum on the bottom of my shoe. And he shouted, and then he spit in her face. And she left. That emotional love had been cut off. And it wasn't that he called her a B. It wasn't that he said that you're no better than the gum beneath my shoes. She's quite frankly heard that before. Or the fact that he spit in her face. Because that's happened before too. But he stopped giving her that emotional love. And when a girl leaves her pimp, her words, not mine. I know this to be factual, but her words, not mine. She usually leaves with nothing. That's the thing that I need you guys to remember, because everybody's afraid, like they have to be handcuffed. Well, they went to Walmart one day. They were dropped off at the strip club. They went to go see their family. They went this or that. Why didn't they run? That emotional bondage is strong. And they leave everything behind. They don't have their identifications, their clothes, any little possessions that they have been forced to lay on their backs day after day, dance in a club night after night to give up that money, to really walk away from it all. But she was able to leave with her toothbrush, a few outfits, and $20. But he didn't give her her passport. She was 17 when she left. She had to go to the embassy to get back home.